So while we're here this morning, we are here as a group of World Beyond War, Nigerian chapter to be precise. And we're having a national public dialogue on the state of peace in Nigeria, holding today the 21st of September, 2023, via a virtual platform. And having with order to be present in this thing. I want to recognize the presence of Mr. David Swan, who is actually our big host on the global platform. Engineer Shuaibu, my elder brother, Engineer Shuaibu, Mohammed, who is also going to be one of our presenters this morning, Mrs. Eliman Sen, Mr. Ilogo Chukwuemka Cletus, my big mommy in the house, the national coordinator, World Beyond War Nigeria, Mrs. Obi Jane, Mr. Chukwuemka Cletus, Mr. Leon Nkangian from Democratic Republic of Congo, my elder brother here also, Mr. Olushola Ajao, you're welcome. Mrs. Rita Schwagsberger, you're also within our midst. We want to also welcome Mr. Shindong Kwailar. I'm still trying to be familiar with the name. Please pardon my manner of pronunciation. My local intonation will keep battling with me. So after getting our recognition and present, we already having 11 participants, as I said earlier. Having welcomed all of us, to this very particular great occasion on the celebration, on the national public dialogue on peace, which is coinciding with the International Global Peace celebration. I want us to have the opening prayer, which is going to be the second stanza of the national pledge. I don't know if one or two of us, the member here, will be able to recite with me the second national stanza of the national pledge of Nigeria. You can as well unmute yourself to recite with me. Are we together? Hello?
Yeah, moderator, can we give some minutes? 11 people are not a quorum, so maybe let's just pick some minutes and put on the platform, remind people so that at least we should be talking about some numbers. So I'm thinking 11 is never a quorum to start a meeting. Yeah. So
okay,
let's
so
just
what
3
number
minutes. You said we have 11 people. It's never a quorum for now. So let's get, if we can get 15, 20. So let's put it on the general platform. Let me get those I can get personally. So 3 minutes will just start, I beg of you.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, so please, information reaching me from the national coordinator, we need to have at least 11, we need to have at least 15 to 20 participants to be able to go on with this very particular historic and eventful national public dialogue on state of peace in Nigeria. So I can recognize the presence of Malam Mohammed Dawud Isa. You are welcome to our midst. People are still finding it very difficult to have a stable network. Let me go back to the general platform and send a reminder on this note while we'll be patiently waiting. Thank you. Yes, as we await more participants, we're still in the discussion of allowing more people to come in. I will urge us to please let us be patient. Yes, as a background information to why we're here this morning, the International Day of Peace was established in the year 1981 by the United Nations General Assembly about 2 decades ago, and precisely in 2001, the General Assembly unanimously voted to designate the day as a period of non-violence and ceasefire. In this regard, the theme for this year is Action for Peace, which is our ambition for a global goal. So this year, the International Day of Peace is observed around the world precisely on the 21st of September. The UN General Assembly has declared this as a day to devote to the strengthening of the idea of peace by observing a 24 hours non-violence and ceasefire, which as our word and is propagating the fact that there is need for more peaceful coexistence on a global ground. I want to urge us all to be rest assured that this year's theme is Action for Peace, our ambition for the global goal. It is a call for an action that recognizes our individual and collective responsibility to foster peace. Fostering peace contributes to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goal, and achieving the Sustainable Development Goal will create a culture of peace for all. And the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says, peace is needed today more than ever. War and conflict are unleashing devastating poverty and hunger and driving tens of millions of people from their home. Climate chaos is also around the world, and even peaceful countries are gripped by gaping inequality and political polarization. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide 2023 is also the 17th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights and the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide. In this regard, the International Day of Peace 2023 encourages all youths to be ambitious in their engagement as positive and constructive social agents, to join the movement to reach the SDG and contribute to building sustainable peace. Together, we can help to lead our world toward a greener, a more equitable, just and secure future for all. On this note, I want to urge us all that please begin with me and you, and I'll be saying Happy International Peace Day as we engage on the national public dialogue on the state of peace in Nigeria.
Please, let's give him a round of applause. Please clap for our moderator, Mr. Rashid. Thank you for this background.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it. Thank you. On this note, we're already 15 of us. And thank you, my pleasure. Thank you. On this note, we are already 15 of us present. I want to recognize the presence of Mr. Oladapo David, Mrs. Adediran Babajide, Mr. Dennis Ozoko from Abuja, Nigeria. I will still be rolling in more recognition as more participants are coming in. On this note, with the permission of my national coordinator, Mrs. Jane Obiora, we are already 15 years present, and it's exactly 16 minutes after 10 Nigerian local time. I don't know, Mark, can we start the day? Thank you. I can see a phone number with Techno K15Q. You are also welcome to our midst. Mr. Oladipo David, glad to also have you here. Yes, I want to quickly introduce a big brother of mine, Dr. James. We're expecting him to be on the platform. As he comes in, we're also going to dish in the recognition. So on this note, we're already having 16 participants. With the permission of the national coordinator, Ma, can we start the day?
Yeah, please start. Yeah, we can start now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As Nigerians, we believe in prayer and globally. So we'll be starting with the second stanza of the national pledge. If you have it, you can sing, you can recite, please, along with me. The second stanza of Nigeria, O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and love air to grow, and live in just and truth, great lofty height attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen. On this note, from the agenda I'm having here, we'll be setting out some ground rules to ease our level of communication. And one of the first rules that we're going to be setting is the fact that we are all here, we are on time, we are on course, and we are committed to having a peaceful global national public dialogue. That is the first on a lighter note. Setting out guide rule, again, we are going to try as much as possible to ensure that when you are not talking or you're not in the course of maybe making a presentation, please you ensure that your phone is under mute to ease our level of communication to avoid echoing back from the network. When you also if you want to make a presentation or you want to say something in the course of this discussion, please you kindly indicate by raising up your hand. We have a means of doing that through the provision from the Zoom. Also, during the course of the presentation, we'll try as much as possible to take down recognizable notes to be able to have our words here rightly noted. On this note, I want to recognize Mr. Dennis. You're also going to be of this very particular discussion. But before then, let's have a self-introduction, starting with me. Once more, I am Abdusalam Bashir Rilwan. I am the moderator for this very particular laudable occasion of the National Public Dialogue on State of Peace. I want Mr. Davis one, please, in the order. Next person, please.
All right.
Thank you.
My name is Ozoko Dennis, and I work with the Office of the National Security Advisor, precisely National Counterterrorism Center here in Abuja. It's a pleasure to be in this program. Thank you.
Thank you. It's our pleasure having you, sir, from the Office of the National Security Advisor here in Abuja, capital Nigeria. Next person.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chukwuemka. I work with Tier-Front and I'm based in Yola. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Oladipo Oladapo David. I work with 3D Initiative here in Oyo State, Nigeria.
Thank you, Southwest Oyo, Southwest Nigeria, Oyo State. Thank you. We can go ahead.
Well, my own name is Shindo Akila Bala. I'm a media participant in this program. Thank you very much. And I'm in Kaduna.
My name is Mkanja Lenga Leon from Democratic Republic of Congo. I am also a peacemaker. I'm coordinating a local organization called the WFAD, Organisation des Peuples Opportunities Development. And also I'm a member of WorldBeyondWar.org. Thank you. I'm very happy to meet with you. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. I just want to say that in this manner, to avoid wastage of time, please, in the chat box, you can just quickly tell us your name, where you are located, and why you are actually an advocate for peace, so that we can be able to announce time and manage time appropriately in that order. On that note, I'll be moving to the next on the agenda, which is the opening remarks by the National Coordinator of World Beyond War, Mrs. Jane Obiora, who is also the Executive Director, Center on Peace Advocates Nigeria. Mrs. Jane, please, you can go ahead with the opening remark. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody here. I'm so delighted to have so many powerful people with me to celebrate today. It shows that we are passionate about the peace. We love peaceful atmosphere that we want to enjoy, we want to see it happen. And today is a special day all over the world. It's an International Day of Peace. I welcome you and I thank you especially for this time. This time is a time you ought to be in the office or be in a meeting or be in something, but you left it to be here to commemorate the day, to talk about national issues and see how we work together in our own efforts as a team to ensure we have this peaceful, inclusive, just, and healthy society. Permit me to say that I appreciate you all. Mr. Davis from ANSA, the Advisor, Office of Security, thank you so much for finding time. Mr. Davidson from US, who is our parent body, we appreciate you for waking up so early to be with us. I may not go to appreciate each and everyone because it may take time, but in all and all, I thank you especially. I thank Mr. the GM engineer, KADCSDA, who is with us, who has been supporting us, who has been a father. We thank you too much. I thank Mr. Bashir, especially. You left also what you're doing to be here to moderate the day. Thank you for the members who has been supportive, who has been doing things. I cannot really exhaust thanking you. I want to just seek for one thing from you, that you participate. This is our country, this is our issue. I will not also forget my colleagues from the West, from the East and the West and Africa. Mr. Leon, who is from DRC Congo, Kelvin from Kenya, Guy from Cameroon, and so others that may be joining. Thank you so much for finding time to be with us. Please, let's have a robust discussion and find a way forward to ensure that our country, Nigeria, which is only country we have, remain peaceful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that very particular, insightful, and precise opening remarks. On that regard, I'll be rolling out the goodwill message from our African colleagues here present. Our African colleagues being present. Can we have goodwill message from your hands? DR Congo. DR Congo. Mr. Leo, can we have opening? Okay. Maybe during the discussion is going to join, is going to put the message across for us. We have Mr. Dennis, the office of the United Nations National Security Advisor from Abuja. Can you give us a good message, sir? Thank you. Mr. Dennis.
Well, good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
I actually want to put this on record that National Counterterrorism Center, Office of National Security Advisor, appreciate any effort towards guaranteeing peace, any effort that brings peace, safe and resilient community. And equally, there are so many policy documents and action plan geared towards making us to have a peaceful community. And based on that, we align with this program that will bring peace to our country. So Office of National Security Advisor, National Counterterrorism Center in particular, appreciate this particular program, and we were in support and wish us a fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this goodwill. Thank you. Please, can I beg everyone to unmute if you are not talking? Some backgrounds are rowdy. Please, can we unmute? Close up your microphone if you are not talking, please.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, can we have Leon from DRC Congo? Mr. David has just finished his welcome goodwill. Please, can you give us a goodwill message, Leon from DRC Congo?
Do we have goodwill message from DR Congo? Funny enough, I just omitted myself. Do we have goodwill message from DR Congo?
Okay.
Okay, or Mr. Guy from Pugap in Cameroon. Mr. Guy, you are welcome to our Guy Pugap from Cameroon. Mr. Leon from DR Congo, goodwill message. Can we have goodwill message from Mr. David Swanson on the global platform? Thank you, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Very good to be here with all of you.
We are with you, sir. You can go ahead, we are with you.
I'm sorry, what is the point in the agenda here? What are you asking me to say?
Just a goodwill message from you, sir.
A goodwill message. Well, I'm very tired because it's very early, but I'm very happy to see all of you, or to at least hear all of you and see some of you. And I'm very glad that you are organizing in Nigeria. And I hope to see all of you in person sometime. I have some remarks and a slideshow prepared, but I think that's for later in the agenda.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
sir.
for that.
Thank you for that, sir. Do we have Mr. Dennis Ozonko? You are welcome to our meet. Do we have Mr. Leo from DR Congo for any goodwill message, or Mr. Peggy from Cameroon? If none, I don't know if Dr. Ben J. Audu is with us. He's a lecturer from the Department of History and War Studies, and he's also the head of Center for the Study of Leadership and Complex Military Operation at the Nigerian Defense Academy here in Kaduna. He's a military historian. If he's with us, Dr. Ben J. Audu, we want to have a goodwill message from you, sir. I think we'll be awaiting his presence. We have Kevin Jodisi from Kenya. Good morning. Can we have a goodwill message as other countries from Africa? Edward Lewenyan, you are welcome to our means. I wouldn't want to exhaust the goodwill message because it's very important. We already have goodwill message from the Office of the National Security Advisor, and we also have goodwill message from Mr. David Swanson, who is also from the Global Grant. Okay, Edward Lewenya, you want to give us goodwill message? You have the mic. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody from Nigeria here. My name is Dr. Edward Lewanya. I want to appreciate this Noble Forum. It's a well organized program to mark the International Day of Peace. Actually, peace is a subject matter that involves everybody. And for sustainability and coexistence in this world, we need conflict resolution programs like this to create awareness, to make people live harmoniously with each other. So I thank the organizers of this program for bringing this topic. It is a very unique topic. In this time, the world is faced with virtually issues ranging from coup d'etat in African nations, civil crisis, political issues, and global warming.
So I thank you very much for bringing this program. And it is a well-deserved program that everybody should participate. Thank you once again from Edward, Nigeria. Thank you.
Mr. Edward, thank you very much. We appreciate. I wouldn't know. I'm still trying to see if we have Mr. Guy Gilpon from Cameroon to give us goodwill message, or Mr. Leon from DR Congo. If we don't have them here present with us, maybe during the course of our discussion, we'll get their goodwill message, maybe during the course of comments. On that note, we'll be moving to the business of the day, which is of World Beyond War, to be delivered by our global representative, Peggy Swanson, to give us an overview of World Beyond War Global. Sir, Mr. David, you have the mic. Thank you.
Hello.
An overview of World Beyond War. Okay. If you can hear me, okay.
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you, Claire.
World Beyond War. World Beyond War is an organization that we started almost 10 years ago. 10 years ago, this coming January 1st, in order to create an organization that would be global, globally run, with chapters and volunteers and staff people and board members and advisory board members from around the world, rather than based in just one part of the world. And this has been a wonderful thing. I have enjoyed very much, with, in particular, the use of the internet, because I have been on so many Zoom calls now with people from all over the world together, talking as a community, saying words like we and us and our to mean we good people of the entire world. We also created World Beyond War in order to have an organization that would oppose all war, every single war, both sides of every war, and the entire business of war. So rather than a campaign to end one war or to ban one weapon or to oppose one side of one war, we want to shut down the entire business of war, and shift from building weapons to building useful things, and stop using war as a supposedly justifiable tool of foreign policy. And this has been helpful as well. We've educated a lot of people, and other organizations. We wanted to do educational work and activism work, and we later developed the idea that media or communications work needed to be thought of as just as important as those other two. And I think later in the agenda, be showing you a slideshow and talking about some of the activism we do around the world, some of the education we do around the world, and some of the media or communications that we create or get others to create. And so we've built a lot of chapters, signed up a lot of affiliated organizations. We've stopped weapons shipments. We've shut down weapons fairs, arms bazaars. We've prevented military bases from being built. We've educated a great many people and moved their opinions from believing that war can be acceptable to opposing it. We've done lots of small and large events, and I'll talk about a lot of those in my remarks later. But we are growing pretty quickly and are very happy to have your help in doing that, and hope that we can that World Beyond War's staff and World Beyond War's other chapters around the world can be of help to to everything you decide to work on in Nigeria.
Thank you very much for that very insightful overview of what the World Beyond War has been doing and what we're hoping to do, and the fact that you appreciate what we're doing here in Nigeria. And during the course of my discussion, I was calling the attention of Mr. Leon from DR Congo and the other colleague from Cameroon. They've actually dropped in their goodwill message in the chat box. I want just to look at the chat box to just have a digest of the fact that they're having challenges with network. And Mr. Leo is actually happy to be here, congratulating us all for a peaceful Global Peace Day. On that note, I'll be ushering in my national coordinator, who is also the executive director of Center for Peace Advocacy and Education Development Nigeria, Mrs. Jane Obiora, to also give us an overview of War Beyond War Nigeria, where we are, what we are doing, and the inspiration behind this idea. Thank you, Mrs. Jane. You have the mic.
Thank you, Bashir. Thank you so much. You have just mothered the organization. It's Center for Peace Advancement and Socio-Economic Development. Okay, I am so happy again to be with you to share the background of how do we come about. Mr. Devinson have established the global perspective, and we need to talk about the home, which is the Nigeria we are. Can everybody hear me?
We are with you, ma'am.
Okay. So
yeah, we can hear
quickly, you. I have a slide, but my computer just started misbehaving. So I beg you to bear with me. Maybe I will share the slide later when you pick up. Firstly is to know how come about War Beyond War Nigeria. Sometimes in, I think in March 2021, World Beyond War Global called for a certain applications and all, and so many Africans and so many both all over the world participated. Few also were selected, and we went for training and so forth and so forth. We were mandated to go to our countries and set up chapters. It was a hard work, you know. And somebody sent you a message, there is no any tools, nothing, but they just want to see our capability and see the competence. It took a long time before we had the courage, we have the stamina, we have so many things to be on board. And here we are in April 2023 this year, with you all our members, we came on board, and here we are, moving the giant step to having our chapter nurtured. This is how we come about. So who are we, Nigeria World Beyond War? We are volunteer people movement. World Beyond War, both the global, all over the world, it's people's movement. Because peace, for you to achieve peace, you must have the people. Not only the resources, because conflict-making behaviors come from the people, from the humans. It's a human that made the weapons, it's the human that projects the activities, perpetrates it. So we came on board, and what are we talking here is to advocate, is to build a team force to see that we see Nigeria environment, whether you are in the north, whether you are in the south, whether you are in the east, whether you are in the west, Nigeria is our country. We cannot fold our hands to see it go down, allowing perpetrators, people with different ideologies, with their scheme coming to rob off of our rights, our human right of survival. That's basically what we're, so we have the civil society among us, we have development partners among us, we have the governments. We can see how far we have even gone. Mr. Dennis is with us here from the Office of Security. It's not a joke. Everybody is passionate about peace, because without peace, there will not be development. Without peace, you and I cannot even be here. So peace is everybody's business. Imagine the money invested in peace, the money invested in security, the money invested in making weapons, they are all enough to put up a good development edifice for humankind. Talk about school, talk about good roads, talk about clean water, talk about things that will make us thrive and survive. And that's why we're saying, yes, I know we have our security institutions who are really hands-on to ensuring peace. We need to be with you. We are from the civil. We are the foot soldiers of government in our community. How do we go to chant this cause to see that we promote peace and have a peaceful atmosphere? We have our core values. That's something we always look up to see as we take on our activities. Number one is that professionalism. Everybody in World Beyond War is a professional. Professional in academy, professional in research, professional in media, professional in civil society programming, professional as government officers and officials, professionals. So we want to see to the table, everyone coming in, we don't have touts around us. We don't have misbehaviors. Everybody is gained with a lot of experience. Everybody is gained with a lot of experience. So that is why number one thing that stood out for us is professionalism. We talk professional, we act professionals. And we are coming from 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. It's not a joke. Transparency and accountability. Anything we do, we make it open. Despite I can do it, but I make it open for all to come in. So because teamwork, team building, teamwork is necessary. Even though you know it, another person knows it the other way. So, and we build collaboration and partnership. Nobody can have peace. Nobody can do peace. Nobody can work for peace. You need all and sundry. The women are key. The youth are key, the traditional leaders are key, the government reformers are key, everybody in the society, even including the children, they are all key stakeholders. So with this, I will ask you, please, you have made your time to be here. It's not a wasted time. It's a time that will maximize well for us to be where we want to be. Permit me to take a bow as we wait for another call. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, we're with you. You can go ahead.
My name is Lenga. I am Congolese. I am very happy to meet with you to celebrate together this International Peace Day for today. As you know, since 25 years, we have a conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So that for this time, we need peace in Congo. So I call all members of World Beyond War in the world and in Africa to join us, to bring together, to work together, to bring peace in Africa and in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So that I am very happy to meet with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, Mr. Leon. On that note, I can also see the presence of Mr. Sadiq and other well-meaningful participants being within our midst here to make sure that we have a very remarkable and interesting section. On my agenda here, I will be moving to the presentation of key speeches by keynote speakers. On the list here, my first speaker is Engineer Mohammed X Abdullahi, who is the General Manager of Kaduna State Community and Social Development Agency. He will be speaking to us about peace, security, and development as a situation, as a state of peace in Nigeria. So I will urge us all to be attentive, to give optimal attention to what Engineer Mohammed Abdullahi's presentation. Thank you. Engineer, you have the mic, sir.
Thank you very much. This is timely. I welcome all of us to this August discussion. The issue of peace, security, and development in Nigeria being bedeviled by so many crises and conflicts here and there. We know without peace, we cannot develop. Without security, you cannot have peace. So peace, security, and development is an ongoing concern in different parts of this world, as countries and regions grapple with various challenges and strive to create stable and prosperous societies. Nigeria will not be an exception. Thus, I want to look at, we look at peace, which is absence of conflict and violence, both national and international, at national and international levels. It is a foundation of social harmony, economic growth, and human development. If we are peaceful, we are likely to enjoy stability, attract investment, and promote individual well-being. In the issue of security that encompasses the protection of individuals, societies, and nations from internal and external threats, this includes our personal security, our physical safety and freedom from violence, as well as national security, which focuses on safeguarding our country's sovereignties, borders, and institutions. Therefore, ensuring security involves dimensions including military defense, law enforcement, intelligence gathering, and cybersecurity. It also encompasses promoting human rights, rule of law, and justice system, and protect individuals from violence, discrimination, and oppression. Thus, if we look at development, is the process by which we improve the overall being of our people and quality of their life. It also includes economic growth, social progress, and environmental stability. In summary, peace, security, and development are interconnected and mutually reinforcing. A peaceful world provides the foundation for development, and development in turn contributes to peace and security. Efforts to promote peace, security, and development require international cooperation, effective governance, and sustainable policies that address root causes of conflicts and inequality in this country. However, for the wanton of time, I would like us to use statistical data to look at our problems inherent upon by the Nigerian society. Some of the highlights in the National Bureau of Statistics that launched its result in 2022 is called the Multidimensional Poverty Index, survey of the 36 states of the Federation and FCT on the 17th November 2022. One of the highlights are that 136 million Nigerians, that is 63% of the country, are poor. And 72% of the people in the rural areas are poor. And 90% of the rural children are poor. Thus, out of this, the northern Nigeria took 65%, that is almost 86 million people are poor. So do we ask ourselves, how are we getting this banditry, insurgency, kidnapping, and so on and so forth, cattle wrestling, and so on and so forth? We must look at these problems and address the root causes of these issues. Some of the problems inherent upon by the country is one on drug addiction and abuse. Especially the northern part of this country caters for 60%, according to the UNODC, 9 million active users are in Nigeria. Bulk of them are in Kano, Bauchi, Katsina, and Kaduna. Then the poverty prevalence. We all know poverty is one of the problems inherent upon in Nigeria, and bulk of the poverty is up north, with about 66% poverty rate in this country. Thus, if we look at the way we have our out-of-school children, you find out that out-of-school children in northwestern Nigeria is 4.9 million. Northeastern Nigeria is 2.8 million. North Central is 1.6 million. Whereas Southwest, Southeast, South are below 1 million. Then fertility rates. Fertility rates average. The world average is 2.7 million per woman. The African average is 4.1 million per woman. West Africa has 4.7% children per woman. Nigeria has 5.3 per woman. And all these that accounted for, the Northwest has 6.6%, Northeast has 6.6%. However, Katsina, Bauchi, Jigawa, Sokoto, they all have this country. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, yes, I hear you coming in and out a little bit.
Okay. You say? Then in terms of education, Nigeria, the level of education, low. The level of education, proportion of education in this country is very, very, very low. In the Southwest, they have 90%. In Southeast, we have about 70. Their budget for education is between 17%, 15%, 25%, and creating crisis. Students completing the lowest in this country is Yobe, 196 million. So it's a big problem in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education, literacy level of 15 to 24-year-old women in the north is between 7.2 to 56%, whereas in the south is almost 90.1%. So these problems have to be addressed in order to ensure we have peace. Because without education, how can people understand the policies of government changes? High unemployment rate and religious extremism. Unemployment levels in the Northeast was fairly similar to levels. It may not be the problem. Job opportunities by stemming all these crises will not give employment to those teeming youths. However, the state of things in Nigeria, most of the time we see leaders doing things haphazardly instead of using statistical data. We don't have statistics in Nigeria that you can rely on, or policymakers don't even use those statistics. These are some of the issues. However, if we look at the major challenges that faces us in terms of peace, security, and development, terrorism, insurgency. We've known these issues in the Northwest, Northeast, North Central. It is bedeviling our country. Ethno-religious conflicts, intercommunal tensions that occasionally arise. So there is need for us to have proper peace-building efforts in this country. We have weak law enforcement. The inadequate law enforcement capacity and corruption within the security system impede efforts to combat crime, terrorism, and insurgency. This undermines public trust and hampers development initiatives. Economic inequality. Nigerians struggle with high level of poverty and income inequality, with a substantial portion of the population living in poverty. So the economic disparity fuels social unrest and contribute to security challenges. Recently, you see a post of one man jumping off the Tata Bridge into the lagoon to kill himself because everything is hard. No, the issue is our people were not properly sensitized. Then we have unemployment and youth restiveness. We look at international countries that create safety valves, develop the sporting activities, the entertainment industry. These are all safety valves. Encourage private organizations, empower them so that they can employ most of our youths. Are we doing it sincerely? Those are the things we should ask ourselves. We have environmental challenges, like the oil pollution in the Niger Delta, devastating climate change, and harder farmer conflicts, all over access to resources. These challenges undermine security and exacerbate existing tensions. Inadequate infrastructure too contributes to most of our problem of peace in Nigeria. Because as you are moving along the dilapidated road, you are attacked by all these miscreants. Therefore, addressing these challenges requires a comprehensive approach, including investing in security forces, promoting good governance, fostering inclusive economic growth, and ensuring the equitable distribution of resources. It also addressing the underlying causes of conflicts. Recently, the Office of the National Security Advisors was doing countering and prevent. These efforts should be commitments of the Federation. It's not only of the things. They are trying their best, but at the grassroots, because that's where we must make effort to ensure that we have data and have proper policy through data guidance policy formulation to solve the problem of our country. Let me not take your time. Thank you for listening. I'll wait for questions so that we'll discuss, because it's a discourse. This is just an overview of peace and security.
Thank you so much, Engineer, for this wonderful presentation. We've been struggling to share the slide, but nevertheless, we will share it to others. It's a very holistic one. Thank you so much. As we call the next speaker, Mr. Bashir, are you on?
Yes, I'm back, ma. The next speaker, that's my second speaker for the day, who will be talking to us on drugs use prevention and peace building. Mrs. Peggy Chukwuemka is the ED, you will say, pardon me, not to mother word here, EDPCIC is also the board of BOD for WFAD Global. Mrs. Peggy, if you are ready with us, I will urge you to give us your insightful presentation as all our participants listen to you. on drugs use prevention and peace building. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and everybody. My name is Peggy Chukwuemka. I am the Executive Director of Parent-Child Intervention Center here in Nigeria, and I'm a board member of WFAD representing Africa. So I'm here this morning to give a brief presentation on drug use prevention and peace building, which of course drug use in Nigeria has been a very serious problem, especially Jenny sharing my Jen, are you sharing my slides? Hello, Jen.
Yes, I think the answer is yes. Please do.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about drug use prevention and peace building. So if the slides is being shared, I would want everyone to auditing. Sorry. Not to be confused with the what do you call it, mentioned earlier, of revenue collection, risk pooling, and strategic. That one is more for financing, financial management. You can see, ensure that funds are properly mobilized, part of planning. Ensure that the distribution of funds to all departments just do the implementation. Reducing risks is tied to planning. Hello, sorry, I had a serious network problem here. The network is very poor, and I don't know. Is someone else presenting?
No, ma. I think you can just go ahead with the presentation if you're having challenge with sharing of the screen. Just go ahead with the presentation. Listening to you, ma. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. And so Nigeria, as the most populous African country, has, is burdened with a very high level of drug abuse, and of course, is becoming a public health concern. And we've also developed a reputation, unfortunately, as a center for drug trafficking and usage, mostly among young people. And the sad thing about this is that there's this lack of focus in West Africa, and particularly in Nigeria, on new psychoactive substances. These new psychoactive substances are, substances that the young people, form something that will get them high and get them in the mood they want to get to. And so we always talk about the slated marijuana, meds, those popular ones, codeine, but there are, psychoactive substances that these young people produce, almost on a short-term base, they just make things up and then they use them. So there are no, we don't have a focus on these particular psychoactive substances. And of course, because of the level of poor economic status of Nigeria, unemployment, of course, right now, fuel increments and all of that. So
subsidy removal, these young people might not be able to afford drugs, you know, like codeine and tramadol. So they resort to those psychoactive substances, which is a very high concern. It's a very serious concern for us who are in the drug prevention area. And so I really need to, I don't know how we can, you know, look into it to see how we can find out these psychoactive substances that the young people are now diving into. New ones are coming out every day, and it's so overwhelming and surprising. And then some of these new psychoactive substances found here in Nigeria will have gota water. It's so unfortunate, and you wonder why gota water, you know, and they will have things like monkey tail, where they mix up things together and then make up what they call the monkey tail. Unfortunately, we'll have things like purple leaf, dry purple leaf, you know, some other leaves, you know, that are put together to make these things for them to get high. We also have, there's a drink in Nigeria we call the La Casera. And other drinks too that they, you know, put in substances into them and they take just to get that feeling they want to get. We'll have other ones like sniffing of burnt tire and strong gums and all of that. These things are new psychoactive substances that we need to look into because it is being abused daily and by the young ones. However, drug and substance abuse can be prevented through effective information. Now, we've known that these are things that the young people abuse on a daily basis outside the popular listed ones by the United Nations. So now we need to disseminate information within the young people, going through families, schools, and communities. Of course, we know that Nigeria is a communal country. We still believe in communalism and communal relationship, and so we can't do anything outside community. So if we can, in fact, focus our strengths in schools, of secondary schools, getting the young ones, and then communities where we have community leaders. Nigeria is also known for religiosity. We're very religious people. And so we also think that if these informations are disseminated through religious leaders, it's going to be very effective because we listen to our religious leaders so well. Then when we talk about drug and conflict, of course, you cannot rule out drug outside conflict. Drug is an enabler of conflict and violence. And so, and we also don't forget that there are conflicts that are funded by money raised from drugs. We have the drug cartels. So most times, these conflicts are sustained by the money they make from, you know, drug. They make from drug and then, of course, launder into the country and all of that. So we should also not look outside it. That there is a very strong relationship between conflict and drug use and substance abuse. So now when we talk about peace building, of course, there's no development without peace. There's no country that can sustain its development outside peace. And so it's unfortunate that in Nigeria, we are found ourselves in an increased conflict and violence every day. Those of us who are in the Southeast, when things were happening in the Northeast, we thought, oh, it's a Northeast thing, it's a Northeast thing. Now it's here with us in the Southeast. Conflict every day, violence every day. And then how can we, you know, curb this conflict and violence and bring peace into the country? Relating it to drug, we know that the population of people who use drug mostly are young people. And so there's no how we can achieve peace outside the involvement of the young people. The young people are the ones the politicians use during elections, pre-election and post-election violence. They are the ones the communities use in case if there's need for land disputes or land any communal conflict. The young people are the ones who go, in for those violent actions and all of that. So we can't take the young people outside peace building. That is what we believe. And so if we must achieve peace in Nigeria, we must involve the young people. And then for us, we have very few recommendations, and we hope that these recommendations will be looked into. Therefore, we say there should be need for a review on types of non-classified NPS, that's new psychoactive substances available in Nigeria. Please, it needs to be reviewed, and then comprehensive and coordinated research that will map onto availability types. We need to know the availability of these NPS, types of NPS, the pattern, and the motive for taking them among Nigerian youths. This will facilitate design of evidence-based harm reduction strategies to mitigate the challenges passed by NPS. So if we must, get to the root of NPS, we need to, know the pattern types and why. We need to know what's, is around it, so that we will know how to, fight for the reduction of it among the young people. And so secondly, we recommend that there should be a strong and effective civic awareness through database and public campaign like peace walk, rallies, social media movements. There should be increase in civic awareness. And thirdly, we say as a result of our communal strengths, Nigeria, like as I said, is a communal country. We have a very strong communal strength. There should be community entrepreneurship and livelihood programs through capacity building and trainings in the community. The community know the people, the young people who indulge in this drug abuse. They know the young people who indulge in this conflict and violent activities. So they can identify them and then find a way to, get them into entrepreneurship, get them busy, with work that can earn them money. As some of them who go into this drug abuse and substance abuse, they go into it out of depression, as a result of unemployment and all of that. So the community can help in reducing or coming into that. Of course, when drug and substance abuse is reduced, there's every possibility that violence also will be reduced and peace will be restored. And so finally, we say that there should be an establishment of networks, councils, and clubs to connect young peace builders. We need to connect our young people. We can't achieve peace outside, the involvement of the young people. So we need to build their capacity and leadership, and then promote their participation in peace building framework. So there should be a peace building framework, either developed by states, a country, or a local government. There should be a peace building framework which the young people should be involved in, so that we can achieve peace in Nigeria. And of course, when peace is achieved, development will come in as expected. Thank you very much. Sorry, my presentation is going to be very brief because I'm on transit. And then if there are questions, I'll be on standby to answer them. And I appreciate you so much for finding me worthy to be part of this meeting. It's highly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Peggy Chukwuemka, for this laudable education on drug use prevention and peace building. I just want to say on a lighter note that Mrs. Peggy was telling us of water gutter. Water gutter simply means substance abuse from renewed waste products. It can be of urine, it can be of feces that have been consumed by our youth, abused by our youth as a form of challenge to us and how it relates to peace building. So on this note, she just make it very known to us that if you have questions, if you have comments, please do that during as the course of as this discussion goes on, so that we're going to be harmonizing that as we roll on into our agenda. The next speaker is from the Global, is Mr. David Swanson, who will be discussing with us on organizing for peace. How do we organize for peace? Mr. David Swanson is the ED World Beyond War Global. He's already sharing his screen for all of us to be comfortable to look at it. That is going to be giving us in-depth discussion on how to go about organizing for peace. Mr. David, sir, you have the mic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very good to be here. This won't be terribly in-depth, but a brief overview of some ideas, some of which may be helpful and some of which can be discarded. I want to mention briefly that we try to do through World Beyond War educational work, activism, and media. And a lot of things we do are more than one of those at the same time. In terms of education, we do a lot of educational courses, online and offline courses. We have a course we've done together with the Rotary Club called Peace, Education, and Action for Impact that we did last year, and we're going to do again next year. There was a team from Nigeria last year. There are teams that get together and learn about peace and peace building work, and then work on local projects as part of the course. On the website, WorldBeyondWar.org, and by asking me and the other staff people at World Beyond War, we can help with creating events and courses. We have books and videos and maps and flyers and fact sheets and speakers and all kinds of resources that are available and new ones that can be developed. So it's good to do as many local events as you can online, but also offline in the real world, as we call it. Use a book or a speaker or a film to create an event with a discussion, a conversation, and an action plan to come out of it. Hold friendly debates or conversations between people who don't agree. Hold a public conversation with someone who advocates for war and militarism and weaponry, and bring more people into the event who don't agree with you yet, and see what can come out of it, because making the case for peace is very, very easy. You will win any debate with someone advocating for war. Connect specific wars and specific projects to the entire institution of war. When you're opposing a particular instance of violence or militarism, remember to educate people that this is part of a movement toward the eventual abolition of all wars and all militaries and all militarism. Oppose both sides of wars and the most glorious wars. If there are wars that people like to think of as having been justifiable, try to rethink them and understand that there are better ways than war. And look at what a world beyond war could be in terms of economics, in terms of culture, in terms of governance, and in terms of where the money goes. Yesterday, the president of Colombia said that the president of the United States should stop putting everything into war and put money into aiding people, which would, of course, cost far less than war and win much more friendship and cooperation than war. We know, of course, that drug abuse comes out of unhappy lives, and by creating happy and fulfilling lives beyond poverty, we also address drug abuse. activism. It overlaps with education. We shouldn't do activism without education, but I'm talking here about communications, advertising, putting up billboards. If there are huge billboards or other ads in Nigeria where we can put up messages of peace, we should work on that. Hand out flyers. Our chapters in Canada have been doing something called Cones Not Drones, where they find a store to give out ice cream cones, and they talk to people about, and they hand out flyers with information for people about not buying, Canada not buying or using drones, armed robot planes. Other chapters in the United States have been doing children's peace fairs, working with schools to hold a day of events, fun, games, but also educational, related to peace, with arts and music and all kinds of activities. Speakers in schools is very, very useful. Schools in many parts of the world do not educate about peace and educate very misleadingly about war. But in many cases, we can get speakers, at least for a day, at least for an hour, into schools to talk about peace. The picture in the middle of this screen shows three people posing with signs. This is something that an activist told me they call a tableau. They go to a public place, they create a scene that looks like war or peace or communicates a message, and people stop and pay attention, and then they're able to hand out flyers and talk to people. Another useful tool is passing resolutions through local cities, governments, institutions, churches, community groups, organizations. Pass a formal resolution in support of demilitarization or peace or ending war. Take part in global or national or regional days of action. People locally will be more excited about something that's also global, such as the International Day of Peace today. If there's someone you want to influence, the Nigerian government or anyone else, start a petition and ask people around the world to help sign it and promote it through World Beyond War. We can do solidarity events on a day around the world. We can visit Nigerian embassies around the world with the same message at the same time. Start a campaign to close a military base or a weapons factory. This is, or to prevent the construction of a new military base. This is something that we've had success with. People in Montenegro have been preventing the creation of a new military base for years now, successfully. Getting to the far extreme from the simple free ice cream events. Do actions like the wonderful people in Liberia who ended a war with nonviolent action. Figure out campaigns that people care about in Nigeria and that make sense in Nigeria, and you know what those are, and I don't. But some examples of possible ideas. The Stockholm Institute, the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, has data claiming, and if they're wrong, we need to tell them, claiming that Nigeria exports weapons. You see the yellow country on the map surrounded by blue countries that do not export any weapons. Then you see the orange and the red countries that export most of the weapons in the world, including in Africa. But if it's true that Nigeria exports weapons, maybe start a campaign to end that practice. If you look at the other picture in the bottom right, the colorful map, these are countries that have recently, in recent decades, have had coups with not only US weapons, but with military officials leading the coups who were trained by the United States military. We should think about what can be done about this growing problem. Examples from World Beyond War's wonderful chapter in Cameroon, they have done all variety of educational events, aiding war victims, helping people integrate into the community, training youth in peace building, petitioning urging the government in Cameroon to join the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. I think Nigeria may have already joined that, but this is an example. The third thing I said, media or communications. When we do, I know you're recording this little webinar, we shouldn't do things without recording them, without making reports, photos, videos. Send me anything you can about anything you're working on that I can put on the World Beyond War website and send to other parts of the world as ideas, as encouragement. Promote what you do to other media outlets. Try to get coverage through large media outlets that can reach a lot more people. When you do public events, wear shirts with messages from World Beyond War store or from anywhere else. Make your own shirts, banners, posters, signs. Tell me to send you World Beyond War banners. And ask World Beyond War staff people to help with anything. Our educational director, our organizing director, our social media director, et cetera, et cetera. When you do a campaign, figure out a campaign that's going to leave you with a bigger organization so that you can do bigger and greater campaigns afterwards. Go to the World Beyond War website and get the sign-up forms and have clipboards and have sign-up sheets and ask people to sign your petition or this peace pledge, which people have signed in. Now it's 193 countries. I have 192 on here, but most of the world, we're getting more and more people to sign on to a global movement to abolish war. Think about ways to build a culture of peace. We have this Peace Almanac book with for each day of the year something that has happened in war and peace that can be marked or celebrated. But use and share and develop books and calendars and events and music and art and history to create a culture of peace. We have so many cultures of war, celebrations of war, monuments to war. We need to put up monuments to peacemakers. Don't be afraid to talk about the morality of what we are doing, about the fact that war is evil, that war is immoral, that profiting from war is evil, and that we need to move people to think about the good of ending war and making peace. Finally, I wanted to mention that there are two big conferences coming up. One is very, very soon, starting tomorrow, World Beyond War's annual conference. We've done this for several years. We used to do it in a real location. We now do it online. Next year, we may do it in a real location and online. But this is an excellent opportunity to share with people from around the world what you have been doing and to learn what they are doing. And in particular, the theme of this year's annual conference, No War 2023, is nonviolent resistance to militarism. Surprising, successful stories from around the world of people who have ended wars and ended coups and ended dictatorships without using weapons, using human bodies, using mass mobilizations of unarmed people and creative actions to stop tanks in their tracks and turn them around. And then November 23rd to 25th, so 2 months from now, a conference on Imagine Africa Beyond War, bringing people together from Africa to talk about this kind of work. So I hope you can put both of those on your calendar and plan to join in and be part of them, and we can talk about them, talk about the Africa one in the months between now and then. So thank you very, very much for inviting me to be part of this event, and I'm happy to do my best to answer any questions if we have time for that later.
Thank you very much for committing to the fact that
Thank you, Mr. David. Thank you so much for this one.
Thank you very much for the insightful and real-time situation to organizing this, and the fact that you'll be ready to answer questions and comment we'll be listening to in the course of this discussion. On this note, on my agenda here, we're going to be looking at we, the participants, myself, of course, inclusive, wanted to ask questions and make comments to the 3 keynote presentations that have been made. The first one by Engineer Mohammed X Abdullahi on peace and security development. The second presenter being from Mrs. Peggy, presenting on drugs use prevention and peace building, while the just concluded presentation by Mr. David Swanson on organizing peace. So I can already see Mr. Dennis Ozioko raising his arm. Please, Mr. David, the moment you are raising your hand, maybe somebody will volunteer, I don't know, to quickly listen to what the questions looks like so that we can have a recap of that in the course of the discussion. So Mr. David, please, you can go ahead and ask your question. You tell us whom you are directing your question to, the first, the second, or the third speaker. And please let us be precise in 50 seconds hereabouts. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for the inspirational presentation by the 3 speakers. It's a wonderful one. But the first and the second presenter actually touched on terrorism and violent extremism. And I think it would be very nice for me to actually highlight some of the basic things in these 2 presentations. Like the second presenter actually talked about substance abuse or drug abuse. There's a strong nexus between drug abuse and terrorism or violent extremism, as she actually pointed out. That's why in the Office of National Security Advisor, our mandate is coordination of counterterrorism efforts in Nigeria. And just the way the first speaker presented so many things around counterterrorism. Well, the efforts of the federal government of Nigeria, there are efforts along legal framework and equally policy framework, and equally in the implementation, though they provide coordination at the strategic level. What are some of those legal instruments that have actually helped develop? You remember in 2011, the first Terrorism Prevention Act was enacted 2011. That's 2013, it was amended. Then 2022, another act, they repealed and enacted a fresh one called Terrorism Prevention and Provision Act that actually gave Office of National Security Advisor to establish a center called National Counterterrorism Center. This particular center actually coordinates counterterrorism efforts in Nigeria. And with regard to policy document, in 2016, they developed what we call National Counterterrorism Strategy, called NACTES 2016. The first one was 2014 and reviewed 2016. Then 2017, Nigeria came up with policy framework and national action plan for countering violent extremism in the country. Then 2022, they developed what we call monitoring and evaluation strategy for that particular document. And Nigeria call for action. I've not equally mentioned about National Security Strategy 2019. These are some of the policy framework and legal framework Nigeria have actually developed in this. And all this is geared towards making us to have peace in the country. Now, within the PCV spectrum, there are what we call prevention. How do you prevent? Some of the highlight, lovely support, peace building, building of resilience, fall within the preventive component of the PCV spectrum. And that particular document has 4 priority components. And the third component is talking about community engagement and building of resilience. And this building of resilience is nothing but having peace. The hallmark is to develop, to make people to live in a peaceful and coexist in a given community. What are our strategy? One, we adopt what we call whole of government approach and whole of society approach. What are our core constituencies? Our core constituencies happen to be the entire community. Women and children, you know, the women, they know the early warning sign of radicalization. The teachers, the psychology, the social workers, the lecturers, the academia, the civil military relations, the school, and so on. These are the core constituencies. And if you work with this, you find out that we will be able to achieve peace in our community. I just want to highlight that because these are in line with what is going on in Office of National Security Advisor. We actually appreciate the organizer and equally the 3 presenters for what they've done. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much for that very insightful decision to tell us that the Office of the National Security Advisor is actually on this course to make sure that security advising is actually a global thing, not just a national issue in Nigeria alone. Thank you very much for that commitment from your hand. I think I have I saw another hand. I don't know. There's another hand. I saw Mr. Shelling. There's one other hand. Maybe he has lowered the hands again. There was one other hand apart from Mr. Dennis. You answer your question. You can lower your hands now. You can lower your hands. There was one other hand. Wow. Maybe the network. The moment it comes in, I will let us know. Yes, there was one other hand. I don't know if we have any other comment. Mr. Ilogu, I want to recognize the presence of Mr. Joseph Wilson. Mrs. Peggy, you are still on transit, wishing you safe journey. Dakien, you want to give us an insight? Mr. Obolu Alexandra, present, thank you. Malam Mohammed Dawud Isa. Leo Makaya from Democratic Republic of Congo. I don't know if we still have any. There was one other hand before the network. And if we don't have any other hand or any other comments or questions for now, I want to usher in my national coordinator, the ED of CPA ED, the national coordinator for World Beyond War, Mrs. Jane Obiora, to give us a state of peace in Nigeria. Okay, I can see another hand coming on, Mr. Oladipo David. Please, you do this in 45 seconds precisely. Thank you. Before the national coordinator will come in to give us a state of peace in Nigeria. Please, 45 seconds.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Oladipo, you have the mic. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks to the organizer of this event, and happy Independent Day of Peace to everyone. My question goes to the last speaker, the last commenter. That's Mr. Dennis Ozioko from the Office of the National Security Advisor. I want to ask, have they been exploring so far the issue of early warning and early response to prevent war or conflicts among Nigerian societies? There are a lot of indicators we have seen, both within the regions of this country. And we hear about intelligence gathering. What is the role of the National Security Advisor in making that intelligence actionable? I'm talking about actionable intelligence.
Okay, sir, you can lower your hands, sir. Thank you very much for that very direct question. Office of the National Security Advisor, I want to quickly respond to that question before we move on to the next agenda. Thank you. Mr. Dennis from Office of the National Security Advisor, you want to quickly respond to that question before we continue? Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, we're with you, sir.
Hello?
Please go ahead, we're with you.
Mr. Rulwan, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay,
You are
as you
with
can
us.
see on the screen, my name is Mohammed from the Office of the National Security Advisor.
MashaAllah. Please go ahead, sir.
You have directed some questions to my colleague, Mr. Dennis, but
Please go ahead,
he
sir.
unfortunately has already left for another meeting. So all the question asked so far have already been taken care of by the NCTC by having good collaboration with Early Warning Center. We are always working together to make sure that conflicts are reduced or curtailed in Nigeria. Secondly, Mr. Dennis has made mention about some of our activities, which part of them we have prevention. Prevention is another component of PCBE spectrum that have been working in different communities to make sure these are being curtailed. So apart from the early warning center, we have been working with different partners, both local and international one, so as for us to be able to penetrate into grassroots and other affected and non-affected communities by the crisis. Our work are known, most especially this time around, and being part of us and we too practice. And before coming to this is what I want to say about the early warning activities being done by the Office of the National Security Advisor. I want to also ask another question to PES presenter, that is Mohammed Abdullahi, who has been one of our very strong stakeholders that we have been working with him in Kaduna and even other parts of the country for preventing and countering violent extremism activities. Thank you, sir, for raising all the root causes of violent extremism and the crisis in the country. So far, we'll be very happy to hear some intervention being taken by your agency in that respect. Secondly, my second question is about the female colleague that made presentation on the drugs abuse issue. Do you have any activities that you have been doing to reduce the use of this new or local psychoactive substances in your activities? If yes, we will be very happy to hear them, so as for us to be able to know where to continue with the activities in that respect. And my own recommendation are also advices. We need to put in our recommendation on the review of these local substances that are being used by the youth, for us to know them, to list them, because there are so many. They are even using laser wet toilet steam and other things for them to be able to intoxicate themselves.
So if we should be able to make one kind very robust and holistic program over the local substances can really help us to know the direction that we are going to focus on in order to protect the issue of these uh, psychoactive substances. Thank you very much. I remain Mohammed Isa from the NCTC Office of the National Security Advisor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, from the Office of the National Security Advisor, for giving us recommendation, for asking question, for answering question on behalf of the earlier speaker, and at the same time making commitment and indicating the fact that he's already acting. I'm giving some level of commitment even before we get to that very particular strip on our agenda. So I want to urge Mrs. Peggy, if you can quickly respond to those questions he has raised, also those concerns, I'll be very glad before we ask the national coordinator to give us a state of peace in Nigeria as a reflection and discussion for all of us to have a robust mind together. Thank you. Over to you, Mrs. Peggy.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I just pray that my network will not be disconnected. If I heard him right, he asked what we've been doing around, as an organization, what we've been doing to curb the new psychoactive substances that are being used by the young people. From our capacity as a civil society, we'll have what we call Parents for Parents, the forum of parents who are trained to train other parents. So these parents are selected from different sectors, from schools, religious organizations, communities. And so, because we know that most of these young people come from home, and it's unfortunate that we intend to fight or curb drug substance abuse without the help of parents. So, and then you can't fight what you don't know. We carried out a survey and found out that about 75 of parents are not, they don't even know, they know that there are substances abuse, but they can't identify it. They don't know what they look like, they don't know how they smell, they don't know anything about it. So it was what prompted us to create that Parents for Parents forum, where parents are keeping the actual names and the substances, how they look like, how they can identify them. So it has helped us to, in the area of identifying those drugs by the parents and fighting them. So sometimes they report to us to say, okay, we found something in a container looking like this and like this. So when it finally dug into it, you find out that it's a drug, an psychoactive substance. So from our angle, we have involved the parents, and we are hopeful and optimistic that with the help of the parents coming from the family angle, it's going to go a long way for us. And we also have involved the communities as much as we can in order to, speak the language that the young people hear in their different communities, to know that psychoactive or drug abuse is a no-go area, because we don't have the capacity for treatment. It's unfortunate that we don't have the capacity for treatment of dependency on drug abuse. So the best thing for us to do in Nigeria is to put up efforts on prevention. We have other issues, national issues that are bothering us, so we don't need to divert our resources on something we know we can prevent. So let us try as much as we can, as we do from our end. We recommend to the Office of the National Security to also see how there can be more push on prevention, involving the families and communities, the schools as well. Thank you very much.
thank you very much for giving us the level of hope that we're already having a parent-to-parent. Hopefully, we're going to be having parent-to-guidance and parent-to-the-larger world group in annexing and, if possible, rehabilitation of victims of drug abuse in our society, just like when in making sure that our society is, of course, drug abuse free, hopefully, on a large societal level. Thank you very much for that very particular level of in-depth discussion as to what is expected of us, knowing very much whether we need a center for treatment of drug abuse in our society. On this note, I want to usher in the National Coordinator, Mrs. Jane Obiora, to give us the state of peace in Nigeria. Let's discuss it. Let's have a reflection on it and see the way forward as it stands this very particular hour on the International Day of Peace. Thank you, Mrs. Jane. Over to you, ma'am. You need to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, I have. I thank the speakers who has robustly discussed. The engineer, Mohammed, you really has elaborated to show us what we want to talk about. Mrs. Peggy, we thank you also. You have given a holistic picture of how drugs have ravaged our country and the human space. Also, Mr. Davidson, who has also given us a real robust ideas on what we can do. I thank you so much for this discussion. Quickly, I'm not taking much time because the speakers has already given us the pictures of what we want to talk about. This is participatory, but I want to just stimulate you to ask this question. If you are in the room, please answer me from the Nigerian context. What is the state of peace in Nigeria? From the north, we have seen the holistic picture. Is there peace in the north? Are we enjoying this peaceful atmosphere that we ought to have? Has it affected development from the education angle, from the health angle, from the security angle, from the everything you can think about? From the south, I want people also from the south, if you're here, to also show us what about the state of peace from the south? How is it like? From the west, from the east. When we get this holistic picture, we can ascertain, because in the law court, what is used to judge effectively is facts and findings. The Mr. Engineer gave us a data, despite network couldn't allow us share, which I will share later. He gave us the data to show every endeavors of human, how violence and conflicts have ravaged. So I want to open the floor. Please, let's speak in this manner. If you are from the north, give me your holistic picture, the state of peace in the north. If you are from the east or the west, or just a few of us that we are, I know today is a very eventful, people are going to another event. So but for us that in the room, I know we are cutting across from geopolitical zones. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people, the floor is open. Can we have a state? What is your take? What is your perspective about peace in Nigeria? You want to speak, please? Can you raise your hand and go straight to speak? Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, Mohammed.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Number one, government has put a lot of strategies. However, why are these strategies not working? If you look within the country,
north, I guess, from the north, engineer.
Yes, I want to take holistically about the country, especially the north. The issue is most of the time you don't have synergy. We don't have synergy. You see other people doing something separate, the other person doing something separate, and we are all trying to tackle the same problem. If we had come together and synergize, like what the Office of the National Security Advisor did the last time, when they organize a workshop, an international workshop on DDR. It's a very welcome idea. When we go back to our different enclaves, our organizations and the rest, we need to synergize with other agencies, departments, and CSOs and NGOs in order to achieve set objectives. Having said that, if you look at it, one of the basic problems inherent upon on our society is issue of education. Education is not only going to school, it's being enlightened, because lack of enlightenment also leads to conflicts. So enlightenment, we need a large body of enlightened citizenry. How do you do that? Through NOA. Is NOA properly funded? Like in the days of MAMSA, we've seen how effective MAMSA was, but NOA is not effective. If you ask them, they tell you it's lack of funds. So there must be effort to ensure that NOA is well funded so that they will carry this campaign with civil society organizations, NGOs, and go to the grassroots. That's where we have a lot of problem, because most of our grassroots don't have government presence. So that is one. And then on education, most of our government don't focus on education. The UNESCO states that states must have a minimum of 25% of their budget allocated to education. The northern part of this country allocated only 17%, while the southern part of Nigeria allocated 43%. As I said earlier, only Kaduna, Kano, Sokoto are very close to that threshold. The other issue is socioeconomic. How do we create an atmosphere for peer learning? How do we cross-cut with our youths? Because you find out a boy that grew up in the southern part of Nigeria, southeastern Nigeria, he has a perception of north central, northwestern, northeastern, and southwestern Nigeria. Once you talk to him, he will tell you, no, they cannot do anything good. But by the time you are able to allow this child to intermingle, to interrelate, then you find out that that perception will be wiped off. So what happens to our unitary schools where exchange programs takes place? Children from the north are taken to the southeast, children from the southeast are taken to the northern part or to the southwestern part of Nigeria to intermingle, to create synergy. What happened? Why are we here? If we look at all these things, it means we all must run together. It is time to act now, like the team says. It is for all of us to act together. So Nigeria is one entity for all of us. We don't have anywhere to go. And look at our surroundings. Look at the crisis. Look at the loss of human life. So, Onsa, I want to beg you to synergize most of these activities that you are in charge of to ensure that we have synergy amongst all of us so that we will prevent and counter those extremism. And to the question of Mohammed Dauda, the Community and Social Development Agency, through its participatory rural appraisal, we've incorporated PCVE, that is Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism, in which we interface with communities. We put in stakeholders engagement to discuss the root causes of these problems and try to create what we call grievance redress mechanism at the community level, so that whatever crisis or whatever grievance emanates from those communities are discussed at the local level. If you remember, the Borno people said they are doing sulhu. Sulhu means peace building, to make peace. So we encourage the community. Our forefathers did this, so it's not new. So it is only to revive it, revamp it, and encourage it so that we have peaceful coexistence within the community. And once we have intra and intercommunal understanding, I think will reduce conflict to the barest minimum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very passionate discussion, knowing very much well that it used to be an household solu or peace building before, but now we're making it a global one. And I can also see Mr. David Swanson on the ED Global saying that we should move all the money to education, that we should educate the society to know that there is need for a peaceful society. I don't know, as my national coordinator, you are in charge of the mic. Please continue, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engineer, Engineer Maebu, to have spoken holistically. You talked about Nigeria at large and tickled it to the north. Thank you so much. So can we have the perspective from the east, west? If you reside in the east or you reside in the west of Nigeria or to the south, can you give us the perspective of state of peace in the east or the west or the south? Is anyone handy to speak? Or is it only the north that is taking the charge here? Do we have people in the house? Okay.
Yes. Can I, if there's no one speaking from the east, can I speak from the east?
No, please, you are a participant, true. Please participate. Yeah, speak from the east. I know you. Speak from the east.
honestly, the situation in the east right now is pitiful. And directly to the Imo state to the east, from the banditry to kidnapping to IPOP to cultism and all of that. It's so pitiful that in the southeast here, where we, have known to be a very peaceful place, has turned out to be a place of crises, killings, and all of that. Of course, we know what happened recently I think on Tuesday, where security officials were killed in Imo State, in Himembano. Of course, you don't expect such thing to happen and peace will reign. Retaliations here and there, and people running helter-skelter currently. So it's unfortunate, and we also have in the southeast. We're not utilizing our people. We're not utilizing our young people. Like as I said earlier, there's no how we can achieve peace building outside the involvement of the young people. Okay, now think of the percentage of people who have been perpetrating this violence. It's the young people, and so I wish that our leaders in the southeast would think outside the box to know what the problem is, and then to have a roundtable discussion with the people, because people must also curb the killing. We also have to involve the young people in the communities, who can come out to stop whatever it is that is happening. It's so sad that, speaking from the east, we are not happy currently. In fact, we're not happy in the eastern part of Nigeria, because every day the violence and killings are increasing, kidnapping is increasing. It's unfortunate. And I just hope that we would have a counter youth, as peace builders who would counter these violent ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Peggy, for taking 2 caps. And I really have appreciated this because it's my home side, and the north also my home side. So it's giving us a holistic picture from the east. Thank you so much. So can we hear from the south? Anyone from the south here and the west? Anyone from the south who can speak holistically what is the state of peace? Anyone? Anyone from the west? is everybody hearing me? Is everybody hearing me?
With you, ma. We can hear you, ma.
Okay.
Hear you.
So,
Yes, hear you.
okay. Okay, as we await maybe in the house, those from the West, because even though you are from the West, you can't speak because you are not there, you're not residing there. Can we hear from DRC Congo? Mr. Leon, are you there? Can you tell us? I want to cut cross to see, are we only home with Nigeria? How is the other African country? How is it like? Is Mr. Leon there? Can you give us your perspective about DRC Congo, the states, so that we feel inclusive? We are all brothers in making. Mr. Leon, are you there?
Yeah, I am here. I am here.
Yeah, I want to see what is the state of peace in DRC Congo. I don't want to leave it only in Nigeria. But as you talk, I would want to hear from our other side of Nigeria, the West and the South is left, so that we can have this understanding, like engineer said, that we are one, we need to build synergy. It's a very key note for action, synergy building. So want to see from the other side, the African, how is peace in DRC Congo?
Yeah, I said more 25 years we have a conflict in Democratic Republic of Congo. Hello?
Hello, we are with you.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry, my connection internet is not working well.
We are hearing you. Go on. We are hearing you.
Okay, yeah. I said more 25 years, Democratic Republic of Congo is in conflict. So that for this year, the government organized the elections, presidential elections and national deputy and provincial deputy elections. For this time, we need this network to work together to bring peace in our country. As you know, we have the young people are living in poverty. Women are violated, and
okay, while we wait for Mr. Leon to come back to hear the perspective on the DRC Congo, do we have anyone from the West? I want to close this section so that we'll move to the next. We have spent some minutes up. Is there anyone living in the South or the West to give us the perspective, the state of peace in the West or South? Okay, I think while we need to wrap up this, you and I will agree, like Mrs. Peggy said, the East that used to be known as peaceful states has turned to be something else. Mr. Engineer Mohammed Abdullahi told us also the North that we used to know. I was born, trained, grew up. Here I'm getting old in the North here. North used to be a home for all. North used to be a place that is warm for everyone. If you can recall, in Nigeria, a place outside Lagos is the North, where you have all manner of people. Talk about even the foreigners. But it has turned to be a shambles of its own in this time we are. I couldn't get the perspective. There's difference between getting the news and you are on ground to see what is happening. But you and I will attest that there is no also peace in the West and in the South. So the question here is, do we fold our hands to see this beautiful country that God has given unto us as Nigeria, to allow it to go down because of some fraction of people that are interested in Western humans in perpetrating crime, perpetrating crisis so that they can have their own share of the gain? Do we leave this to happen? When we allow this happen, what about generations to come? Even though you're not married, one day you will. If you choose not to marry, your own generation, your father and brother, sister, they will. So what do you think the coming generation, would they forgive us to have allowed this happen? I think our forefathers, the Nnamdi Azikiwe, the Sultan, the all manner others, they did a lot to keep Nigeria. Why are we allowing Nigerians to tear apart in our own days? That is why I said it's a reflection. It's a moment of reflection, and it's a moment for us to discuss. And that calls for me to say, time to act is now. No other time. Nigeria is seated, and short Africa, not even only Nigeria, the world, the African countries, the world are sitting at a time bomb. And short is because there's some this mercy of God that we enjoy. We have not had earthquake. I think recently in which country we have earthquake. So many things are happening because of what? Laxity from us. Laxity, the little thing we ought to have done, we felt carelessly and said, who will do it? In house, I say, in Aruana, meaning, what's my own? At least I can go my daily bed and come back. But that little thing that you to have prevented, like Ms. Peggy said, prevention. I love prevention than curing, because it takes little or nothing to prevent than to cure. Like I said in my remark, the money. Mr. Dennis, are you here with me? Mr. Dennis, are you here with me? The essay to the, are you here? You can attest from the, I don't want to speak from the government. Yeah, but you can attest with me that the huge investments, both the government and the international partners has made on peace and security, very huge. Simply because we could not prevent the minute aspect of it, which escalated to give us these some problems we are having. My dear peace advocates, my dear people of Nigeria and Africa, please, the time to wake up is now. You cannot be paid for doing good for the humanity. All you are doing is your own quota so that the nature will not judge you. The nature will not say, where are you when this happened? I am awakening our consciousness. I want to reawaken our efforts. That which you know you can do at your power. That which you know you can do at your confine. Please do it to ensure we have a peaceful atmosphere. I think this is where I stop. Thank you so much. I return the mic to the moderator, Mr. Bashir, to take lead. Thank you.
Thank you very much for telling us that Jarakayanka, of course, when you use the word, it's not my business, Baruana Bani in Hausa, but we see that's what we're doing now, that Jarakayanka, there's a need for this reflection and the time to act on this very same situation is now, which is allowing me to roll up on the agenda to act and let us know that we should have chapter commitment, personal commitment as to what we want to do to make sure that there's a peaceful state in Nigeria, in Africa, and on a global scale. Thank you. As I expect you to raise up your hand, raising up your hand and telling us where you're calling us from, where you're located from, and make your submission and commitment, which is going to be rightly documented as a form of next step in this very particular meeting. Thank you. So I want us to have as many commitments, as many next steps, as many action points that will be a reflection to what we have discussed this morning. Thank you. So maybe we'll hold Malam Mohammed Issa Dauda, who has already actually been in that spirit of giving us some level of next step, to give us one or two insights into what he was explaining so that it can be rightly documented. Thank you. Malam Mohammed Dauda Issa. I've not heard from this very particular lady, Madam Awan Jaro. Do you want to give us some level of next step on Mr. Jenny? My brother Chukwuemka Ilogu.
Okay, Mr. Hawajoro from the Office of the National Security Advisor too. Mr. Dauda Issa is here with me. He's having some network issues, so maybe we'll take his comments first.
Thank you very much, ma, for that quick response. That means I guess right. Thank you, ma, Madam Awad Jaro. Please, you can go ahead.
State. You hear me?
Yeah, with you, sir.
Okay, you are welcome, sir. The next step to be taken in order to, I think, overcome this problem that we are having in terms of insecurity in Nigeria, we need a robust, non-kinetic or non-military approach that can be able to deal with this issue. We here as a government, we have been doing so many programs in that aspect. For example, apart from the policies formulation that has been highlighted by my colleague earlier today, we have been doing so many activities in the communities, even though some of them are not directly being participated by the office, but in conjunction or collaboration with different partners that are already in the communities. But however, the thing that we need to do now is, firstly, identification of the real stakeholders or partners that can help us to profile this very novel action. Then secondly,
I think we're having some fade out section there again. We're having some fade out section from Mala Dauda. And maybe you should just type in those next steps, sir, both from you yourself and Adia Awajeron in the chat box so that we can rightly capture it during the course of making the repertoire. Okay. I don't know if we still have, please, if you are having issues with the network, maybe just give us some type out, you know. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I still want Yes, any other submission apart from the Office of the National Security Advisor, noting the fact that they're having some network issues there. Thank you.
Yeah, I think from the chapter, we need to work very closely. I think after this, we need to, Mr. Mohammed, please, I will want Mr. Dennis. I don't know if he's in the house, so that we're already into this together, so that we'll have a further discussion. Please, I don't know what works. Is it email or maybe? If I can, so that we can start chanting. So one is to build this partnership with the Office of the Security with the SA, with us, Mr. Dennis, and other, and again work together with them as they identify now, to identify key stakeholders and partners. I think after this, from the chapter, we need to sit to take holistic understanding and compilation of reports and share, and maybe out of what we are going to deliberate further to see the next line of action. I think from the chapter for now, this is what is going to stand out, why we do also internal other things that we had handy with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my national coordinator, for this very insightful and promising commitment from the chapter. And I want to use this medium to congratulate myself, congratulate the national coordinator, Mrs. Jane Obiora, to congratulate the global coordinator, Mr. Swanson, who is just chatting now, that is going out. It's been very good to be with us. I will have to leave to go and pick his child, and knowing very much well that they've just been within early hours of the day. Madam Awad Jeron is still telling us that still having network issue. We're still expecting to have that at the chat box, or you send it to the email to the national coordinator. On this very particular note, it's gladdening my mind that it's exactly 12:28 p.m. local time, Nigerian, Zaria, Kaduna, Nigeria, that we had a very robust and insightful discussion. And I would say congratulations to us all on this national public dialogue on the state of peace in Nigeria, while looking forward to World Beyond War Nigerian chapters on the next step. And see you some other time. I want to say congratulations to us, wishing us all a very fruitful peace celebration and a fulfillment of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I so much appreciate you, Mr. Bashir, and I also appreciate the speakers. I cannot forget my able engineer who has taken holistic picture of peace in Nigeria. I so much appreciate you, Mrs. Peggy, who also take a holistic picture of drug use in Nigeria. And our own father in the house, who is from the global, Mr. Davison. I know you couldn't wait. Thank you so much. Mr. Dennis, who is from the Office of this Security, thank you so much. I cannot exhaust thanking the world members who stood by us to get this done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you go further to engage in other international day of peace, may you be blessed. Thank you so much as we close.
Thank you all from the moderator. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Leo, you are still here. Engineer Mohammed, thank you. Mr. Ngolu Alexander, thank you for staying in.